It's now 6 o'clock right here on Big Breakfast. Today FM, today's hit music.
Hey, I'm Pauline.
And I'm Alan. Tune in to The Breakfast Show on Today FM with Pauline and I every weekday morning.
From 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
Today FM, today's hit music.
In this bulletin, Prime Minister reveals extent of return of extinct Matangali land. Speaker of Parliament calls on MPs to be aware of the rules of the standing orders. And New Zealand Parliamentary delegation commenced progress in Fijian Parliament. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama says more than 80% of the existing portions of extinct Matangali land have been processed through the new Register of Ithauke lands and allocated to the Yavusa and other claimants. Ritika Pratap reports.
Bainimarama, who is also Minister for Ithauke Affairs, says barring any complications, all remaining allocations would be finalized by the middle of next year. Prime Minister Bainimarama was to have provided the information in answer to a written question in Parliament today by Sodelpa member Ratunengama Lalambalavo, but the opposition withdrew the question at the last moment. Bainimarama says he is releasing the information anyway because the Fijian people deserve to know how successful the program has been. A committee has been appointed with responsibility for the return of extinct lands that included the General Manager of the Ithauke Lands Trust Board, the Chairman of Ithauke Lands and Fisheries Commission, and the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Ithauke Affairs Board. He adds, the work involves creating a new register of Ithauke lands, or RTL, for lands under both Schedule A and Schedule B. 93% of these lands have now been transferred from the state to the Ithauke Lands Trust Board, the Yavusa or other claimants. 68% of transfers have been completed. In the case of extinct Matangali lands, 82% of the transfers have been completed. Bainimarama says the work of identifying and allocating extinct lands had been extremely painstaking and time-consuming, but a rigorous process had been followed that deserved the confidence of all stakeholders. He adds they have had to be extremely careful with these allocations to ensure that there is widespread consultation, there are no dispute and challenges, and that justice is not only done but seen to be done. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
The Speaker of the House, Dr. Chico Luveni, has reminded members of Parliament to be aware of the rules of the standing orders after calling on an opposition member to withdraw the word liar from his comment. Attorney General Aya Said Kayum, while answering a question in Parliament as to who the Deputy Commissioner of FICAC reports to, was called a liar by opposition MP Ratuiso Tikova. Ellen Stalls has more.
Can he prove that I'm a liar? Can he prove I'm a liar?
The comment was made as the Attorney General was answering a question and telling the opposition that the Deputy Commissioner of FICAC reports directly to the President, Ratuipeli Nalatikau.
Mr. Speaker, I refer the honourable member to the promulgation and also the Constitution. The Deputy Commissioner reports to the President, His Excellency the President. Madam Speaker, calling somebody a liar is against the standing orders. It is against the standing orders. Can he prove that I'm a liar?
Ratuiso Tikova then withdrew his statement, but not before a point of order was called by opposition MP Tupo Ndranindalo. She said that similar comments had been made by government ministers in the past and that the Speaker should also say the same and ask them to withdraw.
In future, Madam Speaker, under the powers that you have on the standing orders, I ask you to ask them to withdraw those statements as well, unless they can prove here those lies.
Dr. Luveni responded saying she was restricting this debate to what is happening here and not the past.
And also, please refer to the rules of the standing orders that when you speak, you are to the speaker, you need to stand and speak.
The Attorney General also highlighted that FICAC has the option of seeking advice from his office, but that is at their discretion, and that his office is no way influencing FICAC and its operations. Ellen Stalls, FBC News.
A New Zealand parliamentary delegation is impressed with the progress the Fijian Parliament has made following successful elections last year. Led by the New Zealand Speaker David Carter, the delegation was here for 2 days. Eleanor Tarangai reports.
The delegation, consisting of the Speaker, Members of Parliament Phil Goff and Mark Mitchell, Clerk to Parliament Mary Harris and the Parliament Relations and Policy Officer Daniel Tasker, observed the proceedings for the last 2 days. Speaker David Carter says there's been rapid progress, considering the large number of MPs who have had no parliamentary experience at all.
That a good democracy requires a strong government and a strong opposition. And in fact, if you don't have a strong opposition having its opportunity to hold a government to account, then you won't have a strong democracy in this country.
The delegation also met with Speaker Dr. Chico Luveni and members of Parliament from government and opposition. During the meeting, David Carter reiterated the important role Dr. Luveni plays in the parliamentary system.
She is Parliament's person. She is there to make sure that members of Parliament, regardless of whether they are opposition or government, have an opportunity to have a say, provided those member of Parliaments abide by your standing orders.
The delegation was also present when Parliament passed the motion brought up by Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama for the Fijian Parliament to rejoin the Interparliamentary Union.
I think that is a very credible move. I think it is a move that shows the determination of the Parliament of Fiji to reconnect with democracy around the world.
The delegation is offering its assistance in the operations of the Secretary-General's office. Speaker Dr. Chico Luveni has been invited to New Zealand later this month to join her counterparts from other Pacific Island countries in a meeting with the Secretary-General of the Interparliamentary Union, Martin Chungong. Eleanor Turangaibiu, FBC News.
The Education Ministry is processing the required number of textbooks to be sent to some schools. While most of the schools received their copies by the end of last month, some did not get theirs. Akusita Tale has more.
As students return to classes on Tuesday for the second term, Education Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy has confirmed that some schools did not get all their textbooks.
All textbooks that are required to be sent to schools have been sent to all schools, but there is another issue that we have now noticed, is that the required number of textbooks for these schools were not sent to some schools.
According to Dr. Reddy, there were discrepancies in the information provided by some schools.
Because the numbers that we had did not match with the numbers on the ground. So which means we are again undertaking printing to ensure that all schools have sufficient copies.
Fijian Teachers Association President Ngauna Halofaki says there is no excuse for incorrect information to be submitted to the ministry.
That number is very important for all distributions from the ministries, like textbooks, like money, like other things. It's not a number that school had just take out of the air and send it to the ministry. So with the numbers coming in, they should match what to go out to the schools.
The Fiji Teachers Union is yet to respond to our questions. Meanwhile, Dr. Reddy says the remaining textbooks are expected to be sent to the schools in the coming weeks. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama has confirmed the Fiji Sugar Corporation will hold its annual general meeting on the 27th of this month. This will be its first AGM in 4 years. In 2010, FSC recorded a loss of $175 million, and in 2011, a loss of $36.5 million. The FSC's finances are reported to have improved after that, but the figures are yet to be released. Bainimarama says the annual FSC reports for 2012, 2013 and 2014 will also be released during the AGM.
These annual reports, Madam Speaker, will of course contain the audited accounts for the past 3 years.
Bainimarama was replying to questions from National Federation Party leader Professor Biman Prasad in Parliament. Still to come, Nandi 4-lane project delayed.
Ya bina boleh menonton musik main musik menggunakan bola FM 62 na seri na ngona ni ndende manda kay Central Rental Support ka na rusulo ko ito minichi me ba na koloko. Ni sabula.
Oya wa tisoni dalai.
Gonga yung musik don.
Nama kikirau mena tolu kina bitu. Ena via kabi moliti kina porombuka.
Goria na lali ne kabi. Bola FM number 2 na seri.
The 4-lane road project in Nadi has been delayed by 6 months because of challenges in relocating utilities. The project, which was scheduled to be completed by October next year, is now expected to be finished by April 2017. Christopher Chan reports.
Work on this stretch of road has been ongoing for the past 7 months. Now contractors have issues to consider, like utilities, which are affecting the completion date.
The overall, implementation of the WAF master plan, we're looking at an overall 6-month delay.
Night shifts have begun to complete work at the Votualevu roundabout.
By doing this kind of value engineering like we've done on the roundabout, look at opportunities where we can make that 6 months less than 6 months. And, even if we can kind of remove it altogether.
The most significant challenge has been the Water Authority's master plan, which has been factored into the 4-lane project.
If we take the pain now within the project, you're talking about, WAF not coming back just after we finish the road to dig it all up, to put in bigger pipes to cater for the next 25 years. So, that's a plus for Fiji.
It's really affecting our business. We're not able to meet our targets, and people getting late. We always on the road and spending all our time on the road.
Well, according to my opinion, I think it should be done in as quick as possible, because most of the vehicles, because of the traffic jam, and most of the time we are affecting by the traffic. So if it is done quicker, it will be more okay.
The improvement to the infrastructure is valued at an investment of $65.9 million. Nandi's new roads will now be ready by 2017. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
An investigation has begun into a fire on board an abandoned vessel in the Suva Harbor. FBC News was at the scene near the Suva Yacht Club and saw flames coming out of the vessel. It is believed the fishing vessel was on fire from last night. National Fire Authority Chief Executive John O'Connor says they are currently working with the Fiji Ports Authority to ascertain the cause of the fire. Several non-government organizations have welcomed the restoration of the Fiji Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Commission. 4 members and a chairperson have been appointed to the commission after a lapse of about 6 years. Savara Tambua has the story.
The National Council of Women, which is the umbrella body for 72 women's group, is pleased with the appointment of the Commission chairperson and members. Council General Secretary Favola Tambu says the appointments are timely and the commissioners have a very important role to play.
They have to ensure that equality and diversity is promoted. They have to ensure that human rights is protected. And of course, they have to ensure that they maintain the relations between all communities of Fiji. And they have a very important role.
Former Human Rights Commissioner and Fiji Women's Crisis Center Coordinator Shamima Ali says they welcome the appointment. She says it is the first step towards establishing a fully Paris-principled complaint Human Rights Commission.
There is still a lot of things to be done because to be in compliance, Fiji, you have to have wide consultation when appointing commissioners. It has to be representative of the population of the country and so on. It has to be funded by government and yet independent of government.
The Citizens Constitutional Forum Program Manager, Ken Dokanasinger, says their previous concerns about the restoration of the Commission have now eased with the appointment of the members.
So CCF now looks forward to the reinstatement of the Commission's earlier vigilant and robust form. With these appointments, the CCF anticipates working with closely with the body on human rights issues and particularly the promotion of multiculturalism.
The new commission members who are authorized to speak to the media after they are sworn in by the president are Friend Director Sashi Kiran, lawyer Faiz Khan, Selina Liwai, a social worker, and FBC Program Director Pedeli Rokutibuna. The chairperson is High Court Judge Justice Muhammad Ajmir. Sabaira Tambua, FBC News.
2 men alleged to be part of a group of 5 who robbed a Nandi service station last month have had their case transferred back to the magistrate's court. Chonetani Tawake and Chimilai Tawakin Raundrose appeared in the Lautoka High Court today, where the state made an application to have the case sent back to the Nandi Magistrates Court. The 2 men are charged in relation to a robbery at the Mobile Arrowtown service station. Tawake and Rose have been remanded in custody to reappear in court on Tuesday. A third suspect, Tutupo Vuotaki, was charged earlier this week and is also in remand awaiting his case to be called in the High Court on Wednesday. Police are still looking for 2 other suspects. The revival of rice cultivation is a priority area for the Agriculture Ministry. Minister Nia Seriratu says there is the potential to grow more rice locally in partnership between the public and private sector and bring down the import bill. Watisoni Raikondroka reports.
A Food and Agriculture Organization report says Fijians on average consume about 75 kilograms of rice annually, costing the country about $40 million per annum in rice import bills. Agriculture Minister Inya Seruratu says collaboration between the government and private sector is one way of revitalizing rice farming and reduce dependence on imported rice.
As we speak, Grace Rhodes of Korea have settled in Serua in Deumba area, and they are making a significant impact in the local rice industry.
Seruratu says the improvement of the fertilization subsidy has helped the Ndraketi rice farm on Vanuelevu to get back to full production.
And most importantly, we are working on the industry plan right now. We are working on our statistics so that we can correctly identify where we are, and most importantly, strategize and look at the allocation of resources so that we can create that impact that we want to create within the next 5-10 years or so.
During the early 80s, 2/3 of the national demand for rice was fulfilled by domestic production. However, the production trend started to fall drastically as a result of the deregulation policies and lack of appropriate production technologies for farmers, impacting national food security. Watisoni Raikondroka, FBC News.
Sports now. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Nakataki, and good evening. In sports tonight, Toulouse announced signing of Semi Kunatani for next season, and Fiji Rugby Under-20 beat Portugal in opening match at World Rugby Trophy competition. This and more after the break.
छू 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 हे हे नमस्ते फीजी, आपके हर एक प्रॉब्लम की दवा लेकर मैं आ गई हूँ 9 से 12 बजे तक आपकी सहेली रेनू। छू 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 40 में 20 का दिखना है। मैं हूँ ना आपके साथ में मिर्ची एफएम पर 9 से 12 बजे तक मंडे टू फ्राइडे। मिर्ची, इट्स हॉट।
The Vodafone Fiji Sevens team is well settled in England ahead of the London tournament this weekend. The team, currently atop the World Series points table, is on the brink of a first-place finish. However, coach Ben Ryan says they remain focused on preparing for this weekend's London Sevens before thinking about the title.
The boys have settled in well to London, obviously pretty tired after Scotland, as were all the teams. So taking a couple of days to rest and recover, seen chiropractors, gone for swims, had massages, as well as getting into the gym, playing training games tomorrow morning against Brazil, and some training, and then a gym in the afternoon, and then we should be good to go.
Meanwhile, Ben Ryan says robust forward Semi Kunatani is backing to join French top 14 club Toulouse. The 4-time European champions made known today that Kunatani is the first arrival announced ahead of next season. Ryan says they have agreed to the terms and conditions with Kunatani and his club.
Yeah, Semi has gone with our blessings to Toulouse. It's a great offer, an excellent club, and they've also allowed him to be released for 4 World Series tournaments next year. And then, of course, the Olympic Games. All of this will be dependent on him making sure that he's in form when he comes back to the team next season.
Meanwhile, at the London Sevens this weekend, Fiji meets Argentina in its opening match at 9:06 p.m. Saturday before taking on Samoa at 12 a.m. on Sunday, with the last pool match against Canada at 3:18 a.m. You can watch the tournament live right here on Fbctv. The Lautoka Rugby Union is aiming to make a comeback after selecting a squad of new players for the upcoming Skipper Cup competition. This was following their poor performance last season, where the side finished at the bottom end of the points table. Josephine Navula has the details.
A total of 135 eager rugby players showed to trail for a place in the Lautoka team for the Skipper Cup competition.
We've just cut down the squad to 40, but our registrations we've submit is 80 potential players to the Fiji Rugby Union for registration.
The coaches have been working closely with the players in improving weak areas in order to better their performance in the new rugby season.
In terms of defense, our tackle, our approach to the defensive ruck, we've tried to work on that, so that comes the start of the tournament, the boys are ready.
Rawanga, who captained the team to both major titles in 2003, winning then the Telecom Cup and the Fairbrother Sullivan Trophy, says they are confident of winning the tournament. The opening round of the Skipper Cup competition is expected to kickstart on the 23rd of this month. Josephine Navula, FBC Sports.
The Vodafone Fiji Under-20 rugby side had to dig deep to win its opening match of the World Rugby Under-20 trophy against host Portugal this morning. Fiji led 19-9 at the break, but Portugal came back to level the match before Fiji ran away 34-19 winners. Former Lambasa football goalkeeper Filippo Ndaungunu scored a brace of tries in the win. Fiji plays Georgia in its second match on Sunday. The winner of the competition qualifies for the Junior World Cup next year. The Under-19 Fiji cricket team will start preparations for the 2016 Junior World Cup next month. The 18-member training squad was named today and includes 3 overseas-based players. Rohit Deo has more.
The Under-19 cricket side created history by making it to the World Cup for the first time. Now, with only 8 months left to the World event, the team heads into top gear of preparations to be able to compete at the highest level.
The squad that we will announce will commence training on June 20, and they'll be competing a thorough, again, preparation, probably something that they've never experienced in their life. With the longer preparation, it'll be up to nearly 7 months of preparation. So not only will it put them in a good, be fully prepared for the tournament, but also for the rest of their careers as well.
The side will play against top players of the world in their age group at the World Cup. The team needs more exposure to match them, and tours are planned to help them prepare.
We're looking to have a couple of tours before we go to Bangladesh. The tournament, potentially a tour to Australia later this year that we've been linked up with the Australian Under-17 team and PNG Under-19 and us, which would be a fantastic opportunity in Sydney that could be held in November.
The Under-19 World Cup will be held from January 22nd to February 14th in Bangladesh next year. Players such as the likes of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma from India and Team Southee and Trent Boult from New Zealand started their international career from the Under-19 World Cup. Many of the Fijian players are hoping to follow the same footsteps. The Under-19 World Cup just may be the event that these players need. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
The Vodafone Fiji Under-20 football side has settled in well in Australia ahead of its first World Cup warm-up match against Mexico on Friday. The Frank Farina coach side, which will be making its debut in the Under-20 World Cup in New Zealand, will also play Colombia in a warm-up game next week. Farina says they needed such a build-up to get players acclimatized to conditions they will encounter during the World Cup.
It's good to have this preparation in Sydney, where it's a lot colder than in Fiji, and a good progression, if you like, to arriving in New Zealand. So they'll be ready for the cold weather, and hopefully well adjusted by the time we get to Christchurch.
Fiji's first match in the World Cup is against Germany on June 1st in Christchurch. That's it from Sports Tonight. It's back to Jackie now with business.
International direct flights from Nadi to Vavau operated by Fiji Airways are expected to start in November, as well as direct flights from Apia to Tongatapu. Tonga's Infrastructure Minister Etoate Lavulavu confirmed the new services to Matangi, Tonga, after holding talks with Fiji Airways officials in Nadi last week. The new services will open up international access to Vavau from Asia and Australasia via Nadi. Lavulavu represented Tonga in the talks, who was accompanied by the Public Enterprises Minister and the CEO of Tonga Airports Limited. Fiji Airways is expected to issue a statement later. Fine weather covered most of the country today with cloudy skies and cool temperatures in many areas. Another cool night is in store with temperatures in the low 20s. Savo was the coolest at 27 degrees today, while Mbasa recorded the highest temperature at 31. The forecast for tomorrow calls for brief showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands. Elsewhere, fine apart from possible afternoon or evening showers. And looking ahead towards the weekend, the weather is expected to remain pretty much the same. And the main points again, more than 80% of the existing portions of extinct Matangali land have been processed through the new register of Itauke lands and allocated to the Yavusa and other claimants. The Speaker of the House, Dr. Chico Loveni, has reminded members of Parliament to be aware of the rules of the standing orders. And Fiji Sugar Corporation will hold its annual general meeting on the 27th of this month after a lapse of 4 years. To our poll question for this week, we're asking, should police officers be armed with taser guns? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page, FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. That's news for tonight. Join us again at the same time tomorrow. Good evening.
Sarwanduru na kaloko na Radio Fiji 1 ndo mwibiki na buongani binano. Nisambula binaka na ngono boro taki ni rongo sere na ngono ni ndreko malolo. Nisambula binaka. Oye wa meli kilangi. Ninge nama kati umena nungu bengi rawi maina mwani tiki na warombuka na ruwa kina wana kaloko na ngono ni rongo mani sana. Waki na wono na ngono ni rongo sere na Radio Fiji 1 na ndo mwibiki na buongani binano.